Hi, Michelle. Thank you for being on the podcast episode.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, what's life like right now for you? I know Brazil seems to be pretty open for training and competition, but how is it for you right now in general?
Uh, for me, since the beginning of this pandemic situation, I had a fight that was supposed to have happened on 29th of May. So my coach, he found a girl that also had a fight. She fights for UFC, and so we both keep training. We never stop training. He made the contact. So during all the time, were only me and her training. And it was for like 4 months. And besides this, I was running, I was doing everything. And then after I think 4 weeks, one championship, they put down all the shows. So I didn't have fight anymore. And my friend also, she didn't have fight. But as we are training, then we just continue training. Now here in Brazil, seems like we have so the numbers of the virus is like increasing every day, but people, I don't know, they take like a normal, or almost normal. We have our limitations,
Right.
but still can training, can go out.
Yeah. You mentioned you actually had to fight in May, and that was canceled because of COVID. How does it make you feel? Well, I mean, how does the whole situation make you feel in general? Is that very heavy on you mentally, or do you feel anxious or something like that?
Um, Actually, I just want to fight, but I totally understand the moment that we are going through,
Yeah.
or that everybody is living. So of course, I want to fight. I love training and fight, but have to be patient. I know the right time will come.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Today I actually, because of course, you switched completely from BJJ to MMA, and especially as somebody who's so as accomplished as you are in Jiu Jitsu, and then make such a successful transfer also to MMA, I think that's a very meaningful and inspiring story. So I was wondering if we can talk a bit about that today, that transition that you went through, and you're still building on that as well. Your professional debut for MMA was in 2011, right? In the cage. As far as fighting goes, but when did you start training MMA? Was that long before, or how did that go?
2 weeks before that.
Really?
Yeah, I was like that was right after the Worlds, the IBJJF Worlds in California. So I came back to Brazil, and the friend that I used to live in Santos, is a city nearby São Paulo, like 1 hour in the coast.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine asked me, "Hi, Michelle, you wanna do MMA?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." Okay, so in 2 weeks. Oh, okay. So I didn't take serious, what way do you fight? And I didn't know what to say. I said 60, like almost a little bit up. Then I used to fight in Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah, in Nogi.
Uh, that was about 135, something like that.
Yeah.
And then uh, I have no experience with Muay Thai or boxing or nothing.
You never
And
did
that
any punching or kicking?
no.
Wow, that's insane.
And also, I didn't like wrestling. I didn't like judo because my whole life I was like passionate to pull guard. My
Right.
passion is pull guard. And then I said, okay, let's do that. And he helped me with some goals, and he brought some goals to help me with Muay Thai. And I remember I was talking about this yesterday with a friend at the gym about my first fight, because this guy, he brought me some goals, and some of them didn't have technique as well. So they just, and one day I told him, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. These goals, they don't have technique."
Right. Right. Was it
because they're
too easy for you, or did you just feel like this is not going to add any value to my training?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't add value because they didn't, it was just powerful and, strength. And then I didn't like it. But we keep going. And then I traveled to Peru, where was the first fight that I fought.
Uh-huh.
I didn't cares about the weight, about coaching, nothing. Just went there, and I ended up winning that fight because the other girl, she also was very like a beginner. Né? It was also her first fight. But after that, I like the feeling, the adrenaline that brought me. So I was always like thinking about do this and with jiu-jitsu. But I focused in jiu-jitsu until 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then another event in England, or I think it was England, they invite me for another MMA fight. And then I start doing Muay Thai, and I have a little bit more time. And then after that, I was like, I want to do MMA, but I want to fight small tournaments to get more experience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in 2015, I think, I was doing a tour seminars in Asia. And then I ended up in Singapore. And they invite me for a week training, MMA training,
Mm-hmm.
and also teaching some BJJ class and seminars at the end. And then after this very productive week, the boss, Chatri, he came to me with a very good proposal. So I was able to put jiu-jitsu on the side or to stop with jiu-jitsu, because also jiu-jitsu was paying my bills with tournaments, with sponsors. So I was able to put a bit on the side and focus on my MMA. And then they invite me to live in Singapore. So I was stable to do the transition financially. And all the training at this gym, Evolve MMA in Singapore, they have everything in one gym. So I didn't have to travel, to drive or anything.
Right.
So I focused like for almost 2 years that I live in Singapore. I was like focused on my MMA training, and was very good. So that made me, and also because in Asia the stand-up game, the Muay Thai, the boxing, or they are so high level, and I think I could improve a lot my stand-up technique.
Right. And what did your training look like from that point? Because you already mentioned before that you were kind of a bit experimenting, and you were still competing in jiu-jitsu and making a living of that. So you probably had less time to really go into the MMA training. But from that point, when you really made that switch and went pro MMA, basically, or full time, what did the training look like? What did you focus on?
Yeah, then over there, I had a head coach, because before I was doing I had a coach for BJJ, and then I used to go here in Brazil, before 2016, I think.
Yeah.
Then I have to drive to another place to do Muay Thai, and another place to do some wrestling. We are not strong in Brazil with wrestling, so I have to really explore good places. But most of the time I was tired because I was driving to one place to other, these things. And then when I moved to there, I have a head coach. So this head coach was, of course, he pushed all the fighters. We had the program and everything. So for me, it was very easy to focus on the MMA training. I didn't have it to worry about money to pay the bills and everything. Because
Right.
I was paid to train. And also with that, I had a contract with ONE FC. So after, I think, a few months, I did my debut for ONE FC. And the training was basically we have 2 training sessions a day. I could do one more jiu-jitsu with gi or something like that. But usually training in the morning, MMA, wrestling, or grappling. In the afternoon, we had Muay Thai, but the original style that was very good. They had a lot of Muay Thai fighters from Thailand that used to live and teach at Evolve. So we focus a lot on the stand-up game. I didn't change my style when I was living there, but of course they pushed me a little bit more up to the stand-up game.
Yeah, but did you have to do like train a lot of adjustment in your grappling, like the way you pass guard or whether you pull guard at all? I mean, those are likely very different in MMA than what you were used to. How did that go?
Yeah, because then I felt like I was doing the connection between the grappling and the wrestling or something, because the fight, of course, starts stands on our feet. And then because before I didn't feel like I was doing properly wrestling, I was just like going to hold the go and stuff like that. But after that experience in Singapore, I start to see this like more clear, like I could connect the wrestling with the grappling. And the Muay Thai or the boxing that I was training was more like to get close and then wrestling and then go to the grappling, to the ground.
Yeah. So you did not try to get the best head kick or something. You were mainly trying to learn how to deal with punches and kicks and get in and do what you are good at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was one thing. And also I think I understand more the Muay Thai, so I could defend a bit more, or get my mind a little bit more use it with the punches and the kicks. But I always want to do more grappling. And then after 2 years there, I felt like I'm tired of this place. I want to get back to Brazil for Christmas. And I was coming back to Brazil only for holidays. But I didn't want to be in Singapore anymore. I want to maybe go to US, find another place to train. Because I felt like they want me to change my style. They want me more like, I felt like they didn't appreciate too much my grappling game. And I was not happy anymore. Yeah. Because if you see in Asia, they are very, very strong with the Muay Thai. So they push a lot.
And do you think that was that the motivation to push you to do that? Was that because I don't know, for the bigger audience that doesn't know jiu-jitsu, do you think it looks more flashy if you do kicks and they don't understand what's happening on the ground? Right.
Yeah, exactly because of that, because they want to see like high kicks or like good punch sequence, stuff like that. And I don't know, I still like want to play my solid game that was a grappling. And then when I came to Brazil for holidays, I took my gloves, my things, and I went to train with at Damian's Maia place here in Brazil. And after one visit, I knew Damian for a long time. We used to train together, like jiu-jitsu together a long time ago.
Right.
And then when I went to his place, I did 1 or 2 trainings, and I told him, man, I want to stay here. Because here they really appreciate the game or the experience that I have with the grappling, with the BJJ competitions in my whole life. Yeah. And I didn't, of course, we are not playing guard on MMA, but I want to do the same that Damian was doing. I want to do the same, just connect and put down and do the jiu-jitsu. And that's why I stay here in Brazil. And I'm very happy with this transition, because now I have Damian to look it up. Yeah. I always like him kind of copy. His game is unique. He's so like good on what he does. But I try to copy, and the coaches are the same. So they help me a lot with the transition also.
Awesome. Yeah. And what were, like, if you look technique wise, what were the biggest difficulties for you, especially in the beginning when you, try to learn the MMA grappling game, basically?
I think because my whole life in BJJ, I like to pull guard. So I didn't have, of course, everybody learns in the beginning of Jiu-Jitsu how to do a double leg. But I never did this in competition, I think, or maybe once or twice, you know. And with gi is one thing, you have the grips and everything. But for MMA, we didn't have nothing. So I think learn a specific one or two or three specific takedowns that I like it. That was easy. That is easy to continue with the ground game. Was I think the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, right, right. And besides MMA, like fighting specific training, do you have a very big strength and conditioning program?
Yeah, I have a straight conditioning. We do twice a week, not much. I like to running. We do boxing, Muay Thai.
Weights? Do you do weights
But
or kettlebells or something?
we do. I do weights.
Right.
Weights two
Does
times a week.
does it look different than when you still focused mainly on jiu-jitsu? Does your strength training program look different now that you do MMA?
Yeah. Also, there's as I have the same coach than the MMA. This was different for me because I think MMA fighters, they focus a lot on the conditioning training, you know, a kind of functional training, or even people today they do CrossFit or stuff, but we do more like basics weights because the is not the intention, you know, to get too tired with that training. We want to save energy for the ones that are more important
Right,
on
right.
the day.
Yeah, yeah. Um, if obviously because that's your big strength, of course, you've taken so much from jiu-jitsu into your MMA game. Would you say there's also a lot that you learned from MMA that you could actually now take back onto the mat, onto the jiu-jitsu in a jiu-jitsu fight?
Yeah, I think for MMA, I have to be good on top. And I think I had a good game on top, but my passion was be on bottom, with my back on bottom. So
Yeah.
for MMA, now I feel like my strongest game is on top, like trying to pass or just holding the person on bottom. So I have I found like a good way to position myself, even like I'm very light. I found a way to be solid on top, to control and like give my opponent a hard time, even training when I do with the guys, you know. I'm like getting better because I got swept so many times.
Yeah.
Because I was light, you know, and this was a process for me. I had to learn to understand where to put my weight, and of course, this experience comes with time. And now I can say that's getting better and better.
Cool. Yeah. And what would you if you had to give an advice to people that are doing jiu-jitsu, especially when they're, well, I mean, not many people, almost nobody reaches the level you did in BJJ, but if they're, you know, getting something happening for them and they think I can actually use this in MMA and maybe I want to try it out and make a transition, what kind of advice would you give them?
No, Micha, I think uh, people has to learn jiu-jitsu. A lot of people I see today in day when I travel or even here in Brazil that jiu-jitsu is so popular.
Yeah.
But people prefer just learn how to defend, then learn the proper technique. They don't understand if they do, or they know how to do a sweep. They can do good in any situation in a cage, for example. So they think if they go on bottom, they go to the grappling, someone put them down. You know, it's just like about holding the person, and the referee gonna ask them to stand up again. But if the referee ask it, is one thing, but let's take the opportunity. So let's take the fundamentals class in jiu-jitsu. You know, this is very important. Jiu-jitsu is one thing that you're gonna take for your life, even if you're not doing MMA or anything. I'm totally grateful to have learned jiu-jitsu and then decide to move it to another martial arts, that's MMA, because it's very complex. You know, you learn and then you forget jiu-jitsu. You learn and forget until you start to memorize and to connect the techniques, the transitions. So for the ones that are thinking about start MMA or something, focus on jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Focus on jiu-jitsu because it's just more complex than the others.
Yeah.
And at the end, I think this is what gonna save your life, and if you step in the cage.
Cool. Yeah, some solid basics, and just keep improving on those.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too.
So now obviously we're still having to deal with COVID. I saw in Brazil there's actually some tournaments happening also. I'm not sure what the MMA field looks like at the moment in Brazil itself. Obviously, one was still hosting fights until recently, especially. What does the future look like for you? Like what's coming up soon? Is there anything you can say about that, or is that still not clear for you as well?
As I told you at the beginning, we never stop training, and we, even with the pandemic, you know, if they wanna contact me to fight in 3 weeks, I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they have a break in December. The last show they have is December 18th, and then they take a break until next year.
Yeah.
I still waiting for them to contact me. I think I'll have a good fight coming up. But we didn't define the dates yet.
All right.
So just waiting, and I know the good opportunity will come to me soon.
Yeah.
So that's why I box. I keep head training.
Which fight
But
did
nothing
you?
this.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Now I was asking which fight did you? I don't know if it's the right word, but did you enjoy the most fighting at ONE FC? I guess a lot of people would say that your last fight against Angela was maybe your best fight, or at least like the most the highest achievement, let's say. But which one did you like the most going into the fight and fighting and coming out of it?
I had like a few fights that I could take a good experience. One fight that my first loss for Legacy, I think in US, when I had the go. Also, this one I didn't have any experience, so I would go down in the very first round, and then I thought, this is too easy. I want to do a little bit more, and then I tried to. I changed from the American on her arm, and then I want to do a little bit more because it was just in the beginning of the round, first round. And then when I jumped to her foot, she escaped. And then after 3 rounds, I had all the experience. I got a knockdown. Then I come up. I put her down. I took her back, and I couldn't finish. All the situations happened on that fight, and I end up losing because I don't know. I wasn't prepared to win at the beginning. Then my second loss, or my first loss at ONE FC, was with Tiffany. Also, I had good control, and I think mentally I was always winning in the first round. And then with this go, I finished the first round with her arm like straight on the umber, but finish. I thought that she had that, but no, the time finished. And then we went to second round, third round. I start to guess out, because mentally, when you focus like now, this, I think, this gonna be, I'm gonna finish her in the first round, and then didn't happen, and then I was blocked, So that was also a good lesson for me. And of course, the fight with Angela, because she's so high level, she has so many fights. Also black belt in BJJ, so I knew that it wasn't be easy on ground. Even if I put her down, wouldn't be easy. Yeah. We have training before, competing in grappling before, so I think was a good fight, and it was. But then I came more like my mind was strong, for that fight. You know,
Yeah.
I was prepared to not have an easy fight. So I learned a lot, and I really like that fight.
Yeah, it was an amazing fight. Well, I know you
Yeah.
have to go to training, so I won't. I will let you go. Are you going to see Daniel there, Daniel de Groot, the blonde Dutch guy?
I go today. I go after this training. I'll drive to Santos, where I used to live before, for MMA, for Muay Thai. So now I go for MMA here at Damian's place, and then I drive to this other city for Muay Thai, and then later at night over there I will see Daniel.
Ah, right. Okay. Okay. Busy
Uh,
day. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you feel really good today, and you're gonna get the most out of training. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your experience or your wisdom. And I wish you all the
okay.
best in your coming endeavors.
Thank you, Micha. And let's try to do this with more time, and maybe end of December or January I will be free, and we can do again.
Would be awesome.
Talk
Yeah.
more.
Okay. And if you're in
Okay.
Europe, then very welcome here. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Take care, Michelle.